All right. So we are going to have some fun for the next 3.5 weeks. This first session, I usually do a soft launch, like a kickoff, but we're going to dive right into it. You're given access to the course for about maybe 35 days. I always extend it, maybe 40 days, to give you enough time to review everything. It's a lot of content. I think it's like 19 hours total. Hi, Shahak. And so
Mhm.
the whole purpose of this 4 weeks is to dive into the analysis. And so that's why we go straight into optimizing. And so if at any point it gets really ahead of the game, or you're just any of you are this is not clicking, like stop me right then and there, and then we can address. But
Mhm.
the whole purpose of this is like that we address the fundamentals so well that you're able to take it to the next level, right? So we have like 60 minutes. In some session, honestly, we might take it to 90 minutes. So make sure like in the next 3 weeks, you just give yourself some room, after this call. But yeah, so we'll dive right into it. And I started sharing the assignments yesterday. Obviously, it doesn't make sense right now, but I'll review it together. All of that's why I started recording right away. All of the recordings, I'll probably I think I'm just gonna put in a separate drive for y'all so that you can access it. What I'm even willing to do is giving access to all of the previous optimization bootcamp I've done. It's a whole lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But the purpose of it is to really help you get to analysis. So, like for you, Meg, you're more on the ad tech side, right? So you'll be servicing both sell side and buy side and the tech side. And so this part is definitely more on the buy side. But I know that some ad ops working for publishers have to make analysis. They have to look at, okay, why is this not spending, or why is this not filling? Like they speak in terms of fill rate, we speak in terms of like spending and win rate, like winning this rate. So the whole purpose is really to understand how the decision making behind it, and then to go from there and to give you the opportunity to do it yourself so that you can retain some of this information. Okay, so before any so this week we're going to go over, I'm going to start walking through the optimization. I'm going to start walking through a quick targeting levers, like some of the guides I'll be sharing you. Next week we'll continue diving into the optimization assignment, and then you'll have your own. And so every week starting next week, you'll review, okay, this is how, as far as I've gone. These are the questions you asked me to answer. These are my answers, and things like that. And so next week we'll do part two of optimization. I think week three, which is 2 weeks from today, we'll make sure to start on the analysis. So I have a template to share. And so we'll start plugging into the template to start, getting that critical thinking going. And then that'll probably be part two. So I know in the schedule that I sent in an email, I said AI will be week 4, but I feel like I'm going to start doing that a week before so that we have that last week to ask all the questions and things like that. And if we need to have a bonus session, I'm happy to do a fifth one for you all. It's no big deal. Okay. So before every beginning of any coaching session, I like to do 2 wins and a challenge. 2 wins is basically something you're super proud of. Like, so think of you'll help somebody cross the street, or, well, I send this and my boss sent back in an email like, this is excellent work. You've taken initiatives. We really appreciate you, pouring your all into it. It could be anything that made you feel great. Nothing is too small, nothing is too big. Like a win is a win. So I'll start. And lastly, one of the reasons why I want to hear about your wins, both of you, is because we're not very good at talking good about what we do. And so 6 months from now, a year from now, you'll sit down for your promotion, and then your boss will be like, "Oh, so tell me what you did in the last year," and you'll be like, I did things, I did some work, and I did." And it's like, oh, shucks, did I do that? Or let's say in your next opportunity, somebody asks you, update your resume, talk to us about your case studies. Like, do you have anything? Did you increase revenue by 25% by implementing this new initiative? And you'll say, actually, I did help my team grow revenue. Okay, how did you do it? Ah, man, I did do it. I just can't remember, right? So, like, we don't track our wins. And so the whole purpose of 2 wins and a challenge is that what are two wins that we can talk about? And then the challenge will be almost like an angle of like, I'm struggling with this today, but it's an opportunity for that tomorrow. Okay. So here's my two wins. First win is that we're kicking off this fourth week edition. I'm testing it to see if this is a good fit. So I'm really grateful that you guys are my test people. So that's a win. A second win is that I'm waiting to hear about two big projects that we were hoping to be joined, like to join on from training purposes, from even business development purposes for those brands, for those companies, excuse me. So I feel really great about it, super hopeful. And so that's a win because there are days where as an entrepreneur, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And you just got to keep going. Challenges is I started this book 2 weeks ago. It's called The AI Edge by Jeb Blond. It's a sales book. It's definitely a sales book. But it just it just helps organize your day, how to become better at business development. And I haven't been able to read as much as I wanted. Like I usually read 10 pages a day, and I'm like two now because there's like so much going on. I have two kids and a whole husband and a whole dog. And so I'm like trying to give myself grace, but I'm really annoyed that I'm only like on page 50 when I should be at 100. So that's the challenge. We just need to keep scheduling it in a day. But so here it is. So how about Meg? You go next. Give us two win of the challenge, and then it'll be you.
Sure. So I'll start with wins. So being able to do this course, I got the green light from my boss. So really happy to do that and be here and further my understanding of all things programmatic. Second win this week, I went to a Women in Programmatic event in London. So there was a breakfast by them, and it was hosted at the Trade Desk office. So that was really cool to go and meet other people in the industry and yeah, I love that. Although it did mean a 4 a.m. start, which was pretty intense. But it was definitely worth it. And then in terms of challenges, yeah, I've just been a bit sick this week, so I haven't been as on top of my life admin as I would like, but it's all fine. Tomorrow's a new day, right?
Exactly. That's the spirit. Thank you for sharing, Meg. Did you say the breakfast was at 4 a.m.?
No, so the breakfast was at 9, but I live in Manchester, which is a 2 hour train from London. So I had to get the 5:55 train to make it into London in time to get across London and get to the breakfast. So the breakfast was at a good time. I just had an early start.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. Okay, Shahak, do you pronounce your name that way, Shahak?
Chehek.
Sheh- Say that one more time.
Chehek.
Shahak. Okay,
Yes.
Shahak. We're gonna remember that because we want to honor you, and it starts with pronouncing your name correctly. So Shahak. So
Yeah, that's fine.
tell us your two wins and a challenge.
Well, my first win is a little personal one, but I'll still share.
Mhm.
So I have this habit of writing journal, and it's a gratitude journal I maintain. So it's basically an exercise I do every day where I mention all the little things that I'm grateful for. It could be very small things that woke up on time, I have food on my plate. So yesterday I had the highest number of it, which was 90.
What?
And so there were like 90 things that happened during the day, which I was grateful for, and none of them were like repetitive. So that's been the highest so far. I've been trying to hit 100 and maintain that consistency. So that's the biggest win for me. And the second one would be so I work in NHS. So we have been working on this campaign for MMR vaccine for children. And my manager just shared some of the results about we were facing a lower uptake, and because of the outreach we did with the community, we saw that 35% of the parents
Mhm.
went to the clinics and got the got the vaccination. And it was all purely because of that. We were out on the street talking to them, understanding what are the issues, why they're not getting their children vaccinated.
Yeah.
So that's a big win. Challenge, I would say these days, the common challenge for me is basically getting onto any sort of good opportunity in terms of like programmatic that I've been like, doing certifications, learning about. So that's a constant challenge for me. Sometimes I get call for the interviews, I give my best, but then because of the visa situation, I somewhere, it doesn't materialize.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so that's, and also I would share one more win is like I'm super excited about how this entire 4 week training is gonna turn out for me.
Hey.
And I've spoken to lot many people about how I have had like read so many stuff, and now I'm reached to that point where I'm started to losing my memory of things that I've learned
Mhm.
because I don't do it practically. So this is like the first time I would be practically looking at things that I've been learning. So I'm like super excited and grateful for it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you both here. I think this is going to be great. And you always have my support. And please, I'll share my calendar link. Like you and I can talk offline, and then I can walk you through some of my steps. I don't know if you're the Women in Programmatic Network, for instance. There's a lot of groups that can help you. Like literally, one of them dropped in the WhatsApp group that they were hiring at Nexon. Was it Nexon? Next Verse or something like that. And they're in the. I'm pretty sure they're in the UK because it was in the global WhatsApp group, and so I can walk you through joining all these groups and then really maximizing. And I always am a big fan that, using LinkedIn as your main forum, like your main platform is a big, big win. Like you got to constantly pour and show these hiring managers that, hey, I may be junior level, but I have the confidence, I have the work ethic to go find the answer, to continue learning on my own. Here's what I'm learning. It's a post, it's an article, it's a podcast. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you and I can definitely talk after. Okay. Just remind me if I don't send the thing, the calendar. I think it's the same. It's the same one also. Let me see. Let me see. All right, cool. So thank you both for sharing. Now we're gonna dive into the first set. So I'm gonna share this screen right here. In a second here. If you have any question in the meantime, you can always feel free to ask, okay? Let me just pull this one at this point because I ain't got time for all these right here. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, and I love to see your faces, but don't feel like you have to stay on camera the whole time. Okay. I mean, I love it, I'm not complaining. But if you feel like you have to be off camera, that's fine. I just need to hear you so that if I'm asking a question, I'm not speaking into to the ether. Pretty sure I need to share this one. Okay. All right. So at this point, you're seeing my drive, right? So let me first of all stop all of these because as soon as is this Microsoft? Oh gosh. Okay, cool. All right, so you should have access to this folder right now. These are all of the previous optimization session I did. Even over here, you have even more. But I'm happy to give you access to these past our due date. And also, like if you are interested in continuing this, like I said, you sign up as a monthly subscription. If you want to stop, remember to cancel because I do not do refunds. Okay, especially for 199, it almost like I'll have to pay twice or three times more because I'm a small business, all the fees. So make sure you put it in your calendar the day before. But these are all things you can continue having access to. So the optimization guide is what we're going to do today. First of all, have you ever optimized? Have you ever looked inside of a DSP before? Okay.
Nope.
So you have not managed any campaign? And I'm asking, this is a safe space, right, to answer this question. Okay, perfect.
No.
So the main role of a trader would be basically being the DSP expert, the SME for anything activation. Some people say investment teams because we handle spend and budget of the advertiser, but I don't feel like it's a reflection of what we do. We activate the media more, we execute on it. And so this part of their role is like after the setup in the campaign, after the campaign has launched for at least a day or even a few hours, then you download the report. And so that's what I'm going to show y'all in this Excel right here. It's an example I've used in the past, is that when you download a report from, especially the trade desk, so this is just a trade desk report, this is what I'll come across. That's why if you hear me, even like on some of my podcasts, I'm always joking that Excel is Bay. It's because we should be able to look at an Excel, like a sheet like this, and then pivot into a table. So if you're not familiar with, where is the table? Oh, there it is. If you're not familiar with pivot table, I mean, there's so many YouTube. There are so many YouTube that you can watch. I can send you. I have somebody in the membership program. So I have the community and there's a paid version. And so a couple people in the paid version have taken Excel classes from Miss Excel. That's literally her name, Miss Excel. And they've found it very, very helpful. So that's also an option if you want to invest there. So the first thing I always recommend when you start optimizing is to understand your strategy. So I've created this checklist. Yes, I've created this checklist to help you stay organized. Because my thing is, if you have everything prepared or prepped, at least before you get started in your Excel, you should only need about 15 minutes, 15 minutes to at least pull one or two insights. And so the way we do it is to be very, very specific to that one ad group. So an ad group is usually set up based on a specific tactic, based on specific targeting or an audience. And so the first thing you want to do is understanding the campaign objective. But honestly, that's everybody. That's everybody. Like anywhere you work in this industry, like there's always going to be a strategy. The strategy is the goal, right? What are we trying to do? We're selling cars. We're selling what we're trying to do. Are we signing up to a particular page? And then there's a KPI, which is the metric that's CPA based on the amount of signups. So like our example goal that I'm going to walk through in a second here is sign up of a particular page. And then there's targeting. So what are the targetings? Targeting includes what's the audience, what's the geographical restriction, what's the whatever, including in that targeting restriction, you have to know. And the fourth thing that includes in a strategy is creative messaging. And so what message are we serving these people? And so once you have this first one done, then you can conduct a QA of your setup. So obviously we don't have anything set up here, right? Because this is a demo. And so when you start running anything, in my opinion, whether it is a deal, whether it's a campaign in a DSP, whether it's anything in GAM on the publisher side, right? On the ad up side, you always want to go back and see how things are set up. That's the best way to understand anything. Let me see the Carfax. Let me see under the hood. Show me everything you did, right? That's what I'm trying to say. In order to be fully transparent, you have to understand how it was set up. So that's why it is in second step. And also, if you're QAing your setup or somebody else's setup, let's say, if you didn't set it up yourself, then you instantly can pinpoint, oh, the strategy is this. Oh, this audience specifically set up in this ad group is small business owners. But this second ad group has small business owners in financial services. So it's very specific. Again, it's niche to that. And so that's how you're able to easily pinpoint the nuances when you look at the setup. And that's the best way to really be equipped with everything you need to know about a campaign. And then you have to confirm if tracking pixel are firing. Again, these are things that we may not physically do together, but I want to walk you through this checklist so that once once you hear these terms, you understand what they mean. So tracking pixel are you guys familiar with tracking pixels?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, so to give me your kind of definition of a tracking pixel.
So for me, that would be more on like the meta side of stuff. So if
Okay.
you've got like pixels in meta and then you're putting them on websites and you're making sure that everything's connected, so it's a way that you can get ads to
Mhm.
follow you around essentially.
Got it. That's about that's yeah, I think you explained it really well. So tracking pixel are these little codes that we give from an ad agency, from a media perspective. We give this code to the client. Let's say in our cases, it's the advertisers, the brand, and we tell them, hey, put this code on your website. I think is in the footer of the website of every pages, so that if we send traffic from our spend, from our strategy, we're able to track if this traffic is performing well. And so those are tracking pixels. So let's say if you're running in Media Math as your main DSP, Media Math, there'll be a way for us to issue as a trader. You'll be able to just put a URL and then issue the code and send the code to the dev person for the brand, and then they'll enter it. And then once it's live, you'll hear the terms live on the website. You'll be able to see like it's not called impression, but like actions on those pixels. So like the pixel will fire. If a pixel is firing, that means it's working. If you ever hear this term. And so if you see any action, any fires on, I don't know if that's proper actually, any fires on the pixel. But if the pixel is firing, you'll start seeing numbers, right? And those do not represent impression, that just represent, oh, this is working and that we want. So you understand the strategy. You've set up, you QA'd your setup to see how it was set up in the DSP. And now you're confirming that, oh, since our main KPI is a CPA, which you and I will review in a second here in the example, everything, it's actually being measured correctly. Basically, that's all I'm trying to say. If you ever open your report and you realize that, yo, there's absolutely no conversion, if we've been running for X amount of days or X amount of month, then maybe it's not being tracked correctly or it's not set up correctly. So if these three things are correct in a perfect world, then you can dive into the analysis part of what we do, which is my recommendation is to always focus on the highest and the low first. So the highest performing tactic or ad group means, based on the KPI, based on those objectives, which one is closest to the goal if we are not close to the goal, or which one is performing best against which is the worst, right? Which one is really terrible. You are looking at the best and the top and the bottom for now. And then eventually you have to look at every single ad group. And so once you look at the high and the low, you use the optimization grid to help you decide how to get started. So we'll look at the optimization grid in a second. And then what I also recommend is that in order to be super efficient, right, and productive, I always recommend to always schedule the appropriate reports to in advance of this analysis session, because sometimes it's just a whole lot of it's just a whole lot of data, and it's going to take you a few minutes to download it. Sometimes it can even take a day or so depending on the DSP you're using for real life. And so that can be super annoying when you're ready to, like, you need the analysis now. And so scheduling something on the weekly basis, every Tuesday this report from Nike will be sent to my email, or it will be available for me to download directly from the DSP. Or this report from, I don't know, on Wednesday it'll be CPG. On Thursday it'll be another retail brand. On Friday it'll be just recapping and pasting documents. You know what I mean? Like, if you have that locked in, you'll never be waiting on a report. Okay, unless it's really ad hoc or not. And then I know this probably feels intuitive, but it's a struggle is real. I've worked with a lot of traders that don't have a legit way of taking notes of their optimization. And so find a good note taker, whether it's old school on your paper or on your computer. I would recommend, since there's multiple people touching that campaign, to have it in a digital version that you can show somebody and not taking notes, right? And then keep a detailed note on best performing inventory, low performing inventory, and a probation list, which is something I teach. I don't know if any ad agency has something this is have borrowed this term, but I'll tell you why I call it probation. And then you always follow the rule of thumb. Most DSP will tell you only make 1 to 2 changes per ad group per day. Because if you make, let's say, if you make 7 changes, right? So you increase your bid. A change can be like this: you're increasing your base bid, you turn off a couple creative, that's 2. 3, you have included site lists of specific contextual relevant, I don't know, tactic. And then 4, you are excluding a particular zip code. And then 5, you have increased reach. So, I mean, frequency, excuse me. So maybe it was 2 every hour. I mean, 2 every day. Now it's 2 every hour. And then 6, it's, oh, you've also excluded in-app, right, as an inventory. And then 7, like all of these changes in one day. And then the next 2 days, you see that your performance is like drastically changing, whether it's a good one or it's a bad one, where you drastically see something bad happening. You're unable to pinpoint, actually, it's this particularly change that may have influenced this bad performance. If you do 1 or 2 changes, then it's easier for you to hone it down to like, yo, between these 2, frequency and bid, something did not work between the 2 because, things are not looking great anymore. And then you allocate 15 to 45 minutes for each optimization session. What I mean by that is like it has to be uninterrupted. And then you apply the same optimization process to other tactics. So you rinse and repeat basically. So again, this is a checklist. This is what we do. So this is one, like this is the original grid. So I'm going to show you both. But this grid is basically telling you, all right, you understand that a lever is basically a setting. If you have the option of setting it up in a DSP, you have the option to optimize and to use it to influence your outcome. Okay. So all of these could be considered a setting, like a targeting dimension or a lever. And so if you have, I organized it based on 3: delivery-based campaigns, click-based, and then conversion-based. So delivery-based campaign, most of the objectives look like a little bit like this is an awareness campaign or a reach campaign, or this is an impression-based campaign. This one is a CTR campaign or a CPC campaign, right? So it's click-based delivery. And now conversion is like most likely CPA, ROAS, what's another good CPA campaign? CPL, cost per lead, cost per order, cost per whatever it is, but it's a cost per outside of a click and an impression. And so this is telling you that when all fails, and if you only have 15 minutes, you start by your strategy, understand what's the delivery. If it's conversion, then you can literally follow any of these, and then you'll still be making a productive change to your campaign. So see how these are recommendation. Obviously, you can still look at all of them. Let me make it a little bit bigger because if I'm already struggling, I can't even. Okay. Bigger. No. So this is just a recommendation on what to start with, and then eventually you have to look at all of them. But if you only have 15 minutes and your campaign is an awareness, but you have really low impression base, then you can either increase your frequency or decrease it. You can look at the site list, you can look at the supply vendor, and you can look at the base bid, right? Because it's an awareness campaign. All you got to do is like spend basically. I mean, I'm dumbing it down, but you have to do a little bit more but awareness campaigns most of the time. And so if you notice something, frequency sites and supply vendors are all 3 of them are checked on almost everything. Why do you think? Why do you think it's site supply vendors specifically is always a good lever to look at when it comes to optimization?
Because that's where you're showing your ads, or like where they're displaying.
Mhm. So yes, so site is basically the inventory. So where is the supply inventory? So when your ad is showing, which website did that display ad or that OLV online video show? When all fails and you don't have this grid, you can always, it's always a safe move to look at your site list. It's always a safe move. Because that's the whole fundamentals of programmatic is like being able to place an ad on a site. That's it. That's all it is, right? That's how display advertising started. That's what it is fundamentally. And so there is a lot of sites out here in these streets. And so when all fails, it's like totally safe to start with your site. And then I would pivot in the supply vendor because if there's a bunch of sites that are just not working, I would want to know which one of my SSP or ad exchange have referred all those damn sites because they got to give me my money back, right? Because I'm spending on it. They probably won't, but the whole purpose is to understand if there's a common denominator here, whether it's a good one or a bad one. I want to know who that is, and then I want to be able to reach that back to them and tell them, yo, what's up? Okay. So these are just example at the bottom of the grid are just example because like not all DSPs are created equal. And so if your DSP don't have a template already made for you to download or schedule, then you can create your own. And those are the example of metrics I recommended. And then if you notice, I've those additional dimension is just so we can pivot between ad group and creators. And then these are the Trade Desk specific standard template, how it's called. But obviously, you know, if you don't have Trade Desk, if you have Media Math, it's going to be called something else. Real quick, you've seen this over here, but this is basically all of the levers that you have available to create a campaign. Some DSPs don't have each of them or don't give you the I guess you just can't control it, right? But most of them will have all of them. And I've used this campaigns acronym to help it out. Some people say it's helpful. Some people say it's like just too long. But the reality is like it's just too much. There's a lot. So you have to remember all of them. And then this is just a different view, right? It's just to give you an example of some points in the mechanics part, the targeting levers. Sometimes it'll be called devices and technologies or operating system and browser. Those are like different type of layers you can have within this one targeting. So there's always a lot of data every time. And over here, I did have how to optimize your data segments, but we'll skip it just today because we're going to do it together. Okay, so this is the template. Let me see. Where is the other one? Okay, there it is. And so now I've kind of combined it all into here, right? And again, it's a lot because it is a lot. Like a trader should have something close to this to do. And so my good friend, a consultant of I, Aisha White, she recombined everything into one. And so when you look at this new grid, okay, it'll go over your awareness campaigns. Like, what does that mean? This means it could be reach base, clicks, views, video completes, cost per mil, which is CPM, attention, campaigns, brand lift. These are all goals of the campaign, consideration, conversion, and she added a loyalty one. This is, I think, specific to retail, I think. And so loyalty one would just say like it's lifetime value. And those you definitely need to have some level of tracking involved, or at least these bottom two. You should be tracking everything all the time, honestly, even if it's just awareness campaign. But anyway. And so the optimization focus just highlights like, oh, improve brand's prospective target audience by finding users who are unaware, underaware of the product or service, actual humans, and prime to recall the ad after exposure. But see how over here is just targeting propensity to purchase a product, but it could be a sign up or take action to convert. And so it just gives you an additional explanation of why you should focus your optimization on this base on the client goal and the outcome. And then we added again, I'm always going to add a report dimension because I want you to be able to create it on your own. And if you notice these little boop, so these would just tell you like, okay, based on this particular client goal, you can start with inventory site and things like that. And so this one is basically just a revision without the additional so this is just a different view, right? So like this one doesn't have the focus dimension. This is just the grid, just in case you're already familiar with everything else. Okay. And so you have access to this folder. So take a minute to review it. If you're still confused about what a targeting lever is, I'm pretty sure I have a YouTube video I can send you where I walk through what the targeting levers are, and I even have a white paper about it if you're game to read instead of watching, so I can send that to you. So the next part of the call, any questions so far? Good. Cool.
All good.
So the next part would be, this is the Excel I'm using. And so this would be the one you would be using for this assignment. And so you can go ahead and download it if you need. And then this one is the, what is it called? The assignment instructions, I guess. So I always recommend to just make a copy so that you can fill it out here if needed. But which one is this one? I think this is from the last. Yeah, it's just going to send you over here optimization intro assignment. You could look at that. But basically it's to use the report in the folder and to answer some of these questions right here. But I just told you that in order for you to answer anything or to optimize, you need to understand the strategy. So the strategy is this, right? So I'm giving you just as much of an example. I'm giving you a little bit of details about the campaign you're about to optimize. Ideally, it would be in a media plan or a media map. But again, this is just for the sake of the example. So this is a financial service brand. The ad group to optimize is you got to select based on the checklist, right? So like which one is your worst, which one is your top. And then the primary goal is a CPA of $5 for TC1. And then I went on to tell you what conversions we're tracking. So TC1 is total conversion 1, which is here. It's open an account completion. So somebody went ahead and opened I'm going to even give you a checking account, right? So this is very specific now. Conversion 2 is a direction page. Maybe they just want to go straight to the bank or find the financial advisor in person. And then there's a contact us page, and then there's a personal loan, and then there's a business loan. Okay, so those are all touch points. So just imagine if it was a bank, and then I don't know, what bank do you guys have? I'm just going to use Bank of America. I know that is not the client, but if you come onto Bank of America, for instance, or you can use any of your banks, see how there's a checking, there's a savings CD, there's a credit card, there's a home loan, there's an auto loan, but this is not changing. So if I go back to checking and I do online mobile banking, see how this app, what is this called? The URL has changed. When you set it up in the Trade Desk or MediaMath or any of the DSPs, you'll use this as your conversion point. And so this will be the page view. And then most of the time, you can even track those type of things, and then the client will give you the thank you page. So like the whatever comes after you enroll and then you've submitted your information and boom, you got a bank account with them now. There's a thank you page. That thank you page URL is what we've used for this example. So when you hear something says open a completed action, a thank you page is being tracked. That's like the final action we want to be able to track, right? Because we can't, let me give you the example of an auto dealership. Like I cannot sell the car on behalf of the salesperson. Like they got to go in, drive the damn car, and then, and then make the purchase. But what I can do from a marketing perspective or advertising perspective, including programmatic, is to serve the right audience this message that they're in need of a new Audi or a new Toyota, and they can go to this dealership to test the car And maybe this dealership may have a specific promotion based on this holiday or based on whatever season they're in. That is something we can make from a marketing perspective. And so that final action may not be the bottom line, you know what I'm trying to say, like the bottom line action for brand, but for a marketing perspective, this is the closest we can get them so that they can convert in person or actually do what they're supposed to do. Make sense? So this is it. So now you know what to do. So before I get into the instructions, I'm gonna review this. Okay, whatever. So when you download the ad group, I'm sorry, when you download the report, when you download the report, this is what you get, right? Oh, I should have reset everything, but I didn't. So when you're gonna download yours, actually, you're probably not going to be having this intense data. So like see how over here I have sum of 4, sum of 3, sum of 2, sum of 4, sum of 3, sum of 2. You're probably not going to have this. This is what it's going to look at first. Is it the first time you guys both see a campaign performance report? I would say I would call it.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So you're probably feeling hella up, like it's a lot. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Don't panic yet. This is supposed to be a lot because we only have 4 weeks to get through this material. But this is why we have recordings. This is why you're more than welcome to, go over it and stuff. So when you first download a report from any DSP, you have a bunch of these metrics. These are just the metrics that we've been tracking, right? So remember how hold on, before I even look at anything, let me just reset it real quick. There you go. Boop. Got him. All right, cool. So when you first download them, you won't even have this over here. So let me just go ahead and move this over here. Boom. So this is what it will look, right? Minus this red one. And so each of those represent an ad group. Yes. How much is this? 30. Wow. 31, 32. Okay. 32 ad groups in one campaign. This could also be multiple campaigns. So I'm going to drag the campaign dimension down into my pivot table onto the filters. And then it's going to pop over here. And then this is going to tell me, oh, these are all of the campaigns we're running, right? But if you wanted to look down to one campaign, which I recommend to, and look at the campaign based on those ad group, you could do it too. But for the sake of this demo, we're just going to keep all of them. So whether you have 31 ad groups or 100 or just 5, you still have to look at every single one of them. But obviously we can't look at all of them, right? So that's where I hope AI is going to come and help us manage some of this stuff, but not replace us. That would be almost impossible. So I have my list of ad groups over here. I have my impression base. I have the cost, advertiser costs in advertiser currency. So this is US dollar because they run in the US. But this is basically how much did that brand spend. This is a gross amount. If I wanted to know, okay, how much of this gross amount went towards, what the percentage went towards the media, what percentage went towards the ad fees and the DSP fees, then I can pull additional metrics. But I'll have to make sure that I download those metrics. Okay. So if it's not available here. CPM is CPM per each of those ad group, clicks, CTR, CPC, player completion rate. That means that I have a video. If this appears, this is here, it's because there's a video based campaign. And sure enough, I think this is the OTT to CTV stuff. And now you see conversion one, conversion one, click conversion 2. And then there's a total click view conversion CPA. What is this one? Total click conversion view and conversion. And then there's the win rate. I don't know why the win rate is all the way in the back, but it was supposed to be over here by the impression. That's where I would recommend to keep the win rate. Um, okay. There it is. Okay. So there's a lot of data. So sometimes, okay, cool. All right. So when you look at this over here and it's telling me that the goal of this campaign is $5 for TC1 because I want to only pay $5 for the total conversion, which is everybody that opened a checking account, that completed the open the checking account. Then this is what this column is basically, right? Those two columns, that the total conversion. Oops, excuse me. I must be out in your ear. Sorry. So the total click and view conversion numbers, this is what we want to optimize off of. And because my KPI is a CPA of TC1, total click conversions, I want to make sure it's always in my report. So the first thing I do when I first download is just rearrange everything. So I'm gonna stop right here because it's a whole lot, right? But when you download this Excel, I want you to take take some time in it, understand what is available, maybe refresh some of your Excel um, magic from YouTube or whatever. And then next week, what we'll do is go over the inventory one, and then you'll be able to get started on your own assignment, okay? Because I don't want to overload you just yet, but click conversion, view through conversion, total click conversion CPA. A click conversion and a view through conversion. Do you guys know the difference? Take a stab. You want to take a stab, Shahek? What do
Mm,
you think the
like,
difference is?
I think the view through one is for the video, um,
Mm-mm.
and
That's a good guess, though. I understand why you said that. That's a good guess, but it's not it. So the click
yeah.
conversion. No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I listen. I talk to a lot of people years in this industry. They still don't know. Then it cannot confidently explain it. A click conversion, which is this one over. See how those numbers are a little bit lower compared to view through conversion, right? All right. So let me explain why. A click conversion is I've seen my Bank of America ad, right? The banking ad. I looked at it and I was like, oh, shucks, I definitely need to open it right now. And I click right away via that display ad or the OLV, whichever it is. And then I convert it all the way through. So I landed somewhere. TC1 means it was completed open checking account. So that means that for this ad group, 4 people at least saw the ad, click right away, and converted right away. So the action is at the same time. A view conversion is I saw this ad and I was like, this is cool. This is interesting. Didn't do anything. And then 2 weeks later, 3 days later, 4 hours later, 6 months later, well, not 6 months, that will be over. A month later, I remember like, dang, I remember Bank of America has this special student new checking account. I'm a college student. I'm attending university in fall and I need an account. Let me go back to looking at that. So I'll type it up in the Google and then I'll convert then. That is a view through conversion, is that the action is not done right away. It's just they've seen the first touch credit goes to my display ad because they saw it first, done a lot of other things. Some time has passed and then I converted. So that's the difference between click through conversion and a view through conversion. That is why you see that there's a whole lot more of the view through conversion compared to the click through conversion because most people will look at an ad, remember the ad later or the brand later, and then they'll go back. Okay. This works really well with in retail too. I mean, we see those Fashion Nova or Micah's ad following us everywhere. It's like you've seen that cute jean jacket and then you don't do anything. But then you remember, like, yeah, I did see that Micah's had that jean jacket and it was long enough and it was dark blue, which nobody else has. And then you go and you type Micah's on Google and then you go and, search for that jean jacket and eventually buy it. And so View through conversions usually are tracked up to whatever conversion life cycle you have implemented. And so some like for Meta, for instance, isn't it like 1 day only to
Mhm.
2 weeks or something like that? So that means that every conversion that happens within those 2 weeks will be accredited to our ad. Anything beyond that, it'll be like, it might not be it, which is crazy, but anyway. So in programmatic, in some of those DSP, we can even track up to 3 months, I believe, 90 days after. Or 120. How much is 120? 120 is what? 4 month? 4 month and a half, something like that.
4 months.
Yeah. So some DSP allow you to track the view through way beyond that 2 weeks that Meta is asking you, or 7 days, right? Like you'll be able to track within that, but that's something you set it up. Okay. And
Mhm.
so that's the difference between click through and view through conversion. And earlier, and I'll end with this real quick. Earlier, you saw me remove those other ones. Is that in your field table here? Whoa, there it is. If you selected all of these, this is a templated, a standardized report. So I didn't have to manually select it. You just download it like that. But in the DSP where you cannot have a template like this, you have to manually select in the DSP that, oh, I want to see my total click one and total view click one and the CPA, but I would love to understand what other behaviors has this audience taken. And so you'll have to manually select the 2, the 3, the 4. So these numbers just says, oh, this is a total conversion rate. I don't want a rate. This is a total click plus view conversion CPA. Okay, I want this one. And then you can keep looking for the rest. Oh, this is the total click, total not click, and things like that. Okay. So next week, what we'll do is we're going to continue. I'll actually continue do like a live one. You can take a look at what I'm asking, pull the 5 to 10 best performing sites. So we'll do that together. But if you have the time to come and look at some of the call recordings, you'll see me walk through and then you can take a stab at it. Okay. And at any point in the next 4 weeks, and then this is going to be the AI, I'll just put AI here because I'm still testing it. But in some of the videos on my LinkedIn, I'm encouraging some of those traders to go ahead and use this as a prompt and then asking AI, once you know, based on this table that I've uploaded, that this campaign is this and that, help me pull the top, this question right here, help me pull the top 5, the best performing site and apps, include the sites, include the supply vendors and things like that. So we can do this in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. All right. This was a whole lot. My advice is that right after this call, you get up and do some jumping jacks. You drink your water, stay hydrated because it's important. And then review what we just did here. Take a look at the optimization part in Thinkific here, where the program is. There's a bunch of optimization session. Just wherever you see intro, just start with those first. And then start looking at that part of it and continue going through the reach and frequency course, which is the module version of it. And then towards the end, the bonus, you could even start there, excuse me, but you can even start at the bonus session where I do an intro, a pre-campaign launch, and then there's an optimization and there's an analysis. It's 90 minutes each. In the pre-campaign bonus one, which I did the workshop in January this year, I show you a DSP, and so you'll be able to see the DSP. If you're up to seeing how a DSP look inside, I'm pretty sure you'll see it in some of the older version, the 2023 one, recordings here, where I have the trade desk that I'm showing to some of the cohort. That was a client of ours at that time, so I was able to use them. And then the most recently is Choose All the DSP. Okay. Cool.
Perfect.
Any quick questions? You're good? It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But just go do your jumping jack, get the blood flowing a little bit, okay? And then I'm always available via LinkedIn or on email. At this point, you can email me. And Shahak, let's talk about your thing, your career growth and stuff, and see if I can put some connection with you, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool beans. Have a lovely rest of your week.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.